Good day, wellness advocates. Today is Wellness Day again. Be well informed and well equipped with healthy habits only here in Florida Wellness Lecture Series. This is Teacher Annabelle, your wellness coach of the day. So, for today's lesson, we're going to learn how you can save the world. Okay? So join me in my class and let us learn on how we can help in saving our only Mother Earth. So are you ready?
Yeah!
So let us start. All right. So, but before we go on, let's stay safe together, right? Let us remind ourselves that we are still in the pandemic. So we should be socially distant to each other. So remember that we must continue to wear our mask, right? And maintain a 1 meter distance. Okay? All right. So let's continue. Hello, hello, planet Earth. All right. So it's like what I have in my background. So we only have one Earth. All right. And we must save our Mother Earth. So do you know that there are 7.8 billion people living in the world today, right? So that is way back 2020. But in fact, by 2050, it's projected to grow to 10 billion people, all sharing the natural resources of planet Earth. So what do we do now, right? So actually, what we usually do is that we take, we make, and we dispose. So around the world, people are taking natural resources like trees, plants, and animals to make things like paper, food, and clothing. So let us take this picture as an example, right? So we use the cow to make leather shoes, and after we don't need it, we dispose it. So we take natural grass, crude oil, and fossil fuels from the ground to make plastic products. And we all know that plastic is harmful to our environment, right? So look at how sad is Mother Earth. So sad, dear students, right? So this take, make, and dispose model causes deforestation, air and water pollution, acid rain, and ocean acidification, lowering biodiversity and endangering animal extinction. And because there are 7.8 billion who take, make, and consume products, this emits greenhouse gases that produces global warming for poor Mother Earth, right? So this causes rather climate change. So we all know that we are experiencing that right now. Even if it's summer, it's raining hard, right? That is what you call a climate change. So this overconsumption produces waste that fills up our land and water and eventually threatens our health. Of course, if Mother Earth is hurt, we are also hurt because we are living on Mother Earth, right? Okay, so do you know what linear economy is, dear students? All right, so let's find out. So when we take natural resources, right? So these are the natural resources. We take them and we make products that are used and dispose them when we don't need it, right? That is what we call a linear economy. And it's a process. It's a continuous process. And everybody's doing that all over the world, right? So a linear economy, okay, depletes our natural resources, fills our planet with waste until there's no space left, thereby harming our environment and our own health. So that's a big no-no, right, dear students? So what do we need to do? We need to turn this linear economy into a more sustainable one, like a circular economy. So let's find out what circular economy is. So a circular economy, dear students, right, as you can see in the picture, um, It's a process. So when you make products, right, you consume them, and if you can recycle them, you biodegrade and you enrich the soil, right? So in a circular economy, we reduce our dependence on raw materials. Products are designed so its components are built to last, so that we can reuse them, we repair them, or we recycle them, not merely dispose it in the trash can. So in a circular economy, we aim to recover materials for further use. That is why we need to remember the three R's: reduce, and recycle, right? So just like here in this picture, we make, we use, and we return. So it's like a process, okay? So thereby, okay, we are what? What are we doing? We are trying to reduce the waste here in Mother Earth. All right. So actually, class, our infrastructure and resource for managing waste are limited here. That is so sad, right? So a circular economy also helps us minimize the amount of waste that needs to be managed and financially, or finally rather disposed. Managing waste is a serious issue that needs attention because even our infrastructure and resources for managing waste are limited, especially here in the Philippines. So these limited spaces have to be carefully constructed so we do not harm the environment. So I have a question. Does anybody here know the difference between an open dump site and a sanitary landfill? Can somebody? Okay, let me help you with that. So open dump site, just like you can see in the picture, open dump site refer to areas of land where garbage is brought and dumped in an open area, just like here. Garbage dumps attract disease spreading insects and rodents, which pose as a health risk to humans. Open dump sites allow toxic chemicals and liquids to seep into the ground and waterways underneath, contaminating our environment. So if our environment is affected, of course, we live in the environment, so we will be affected as well. All right, so what about sanitary landfill? Sanitary landfills in the Philippines are limited, but necessary to ensure our garbage is dealt with within the ways that protect our health. So as you can see, they try to dig a big hole in the ground, right? So disposal in sanitary landfills is the only prescribed method for disposal of our waste under the law. At present, there is not enough landfills, like a big hole where we could put our garbage in for all our waste, and most of our trash end up in open dump sites, right? And that is not good for our health. Okay? So what do we need to do, right? What do we need to do to reduce the waste? So we should think before you buy, right? So that is waste avoidance. So what are the questions you need to ask before you buy something? Do I really need that new iPhone? Even if my iPhone is still working? Can I just borrow from someone else if I will only be using that for one time? It is something that might end up as a waste. Am I buying that just, because I just want it only for today? So when you avoid waste, you help save our natural resources and the environment, right? So let us go back. What are the three R's? Let's focus on this. So reduce, there are other ways to help save our um, planet from waste. Reduce, reuse, recycle. So how can we do that? So, for example, bring your eco bags during your supermarket trips to help reduce, right, the number of plastic or paper bags we consume. And instead of throwing things away, right, you could actually reuse them. And you could also donate them so others can reuse them. So that is what you call recycling, for example, right? Now Christmas is, we could feel the Christmas season. Some people, you could see them making a lantern out of a plastic pulp, right? So that is one example of recycling. And recycling converts waste into something usable. When making purchases, you can choose products that you can recycle after, like, rigid plastic, carton boxes, clear glass bottles, and metal cans. You can actually use it again, something else. Recyclable items are placed inside the blue recycling bin so that they can be sent to junk shops, recycling centers, and recycling facilities to be made into products. Okay? So another example is that we can bring a metal can to be processed and recycled into a new metal can again. Okay? All right. Dear students, segregating trash makes recycling possible, right? So when you have to dispose waste, putting trash in the right place helps our trash collectors care for the environment, right? So if we segregate, the wet waste will not contaminate the recyclable waste, making it easier for recyclers to get good material for recycling. Separating your food also, dear students, your food waste also help prevent the contamination of recyclables and foul odor from the waste generated from home. And as you can see here, the green biodegradable is a trash can for food items like banana peels, chicken bones, right? If you didn't finish the apple that you ate, and this become animal feed for compost for plants. Yard waste can also be put in green biodegradable trash cans separately, right? You can use that as a fertilizer for your plants. What about the blue recyclable trash? The blue recyclable trash can is for glass, plastic, metals, and dry paper. So these items are sent to recyclers for recycling. Okay? What about the gray one? The gray trash can is used for residual with potential for recycling. These materials that may not have recycling markets in some localities but can still be diverted away from disposal facilities through localized programs such as converting products into arts and crafts, or the shapes and plastic films into building materials like hollow blocks or bricks. The black residual trash is for waste that cannot be reused or recycled and will go to the landfill, right? The big hole. We must always avoid or reduce waste and reuse or recycle items so we can conserve our natural resources and prevent filling up our landfills. Remember, if we must throw away waste, we should properly segregate to make it easier for recyclers to get good quality material to be recycled. And what about packaging? So what is more important about packaging? So we all know that we go to the grocery, we go to the market to buy something, right? So most of the products that we have has packaging. Do you know that packaging protects products? Products comes in different forms of packaging. Packaging extends shelf life and protects products from getting exposed to elements that would degrade the product's quality. So it should not be contaminated so that it's good to eat, especially if the kids are eating, right? Without packaging, products would spoil more quickly. So packaging helps keep products safe for consumption throughout the whole production, delivery, and storage processes. Packaging protects the contents from germs, right? Bacteria that could make you sick. But packaging also contains product information like ingredient, nutritional value, calories per serving. If you're trying to don't if you don't want to put on some weight, so better look on the package of the products that you are buying in the supermarket. And of course, more important, the expiration date. Packaging is, necessary. But to reduce packaging waste, because it's one of the things that fill up our sanitary landfill, right? So we have to reduce packaging waste by buying in bulk or larger containers. Instead of buying like a small one, you should buy a big carton of milk. Choose products with recyclable or reusable packaging. There are many ways to reduce the waste we produce. We just need to be mindful of what we use and how we discard it. And again, the main focus is to reduce the waste that we have in order to help save our Mother Earth. Do you know that we have what we call here in the Philippines as Republic Act number 9003? And that is what we call Ecological Solid Waste Management. Republic Act number 9003, or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, is a law everyone must abide by. It lays out our responsibilities of different stakeholders like us when it comes to solid waste management because we are the one who consume the products, right? So since we are the one who consume the products, we have consumers' responsibility. It is our responsibility and it's your responsibility, dear students, to segregate waste in your homes or in your offices, right? So we should be responsible for making sure we use separate containers for biodegradables, recyclable, residual, and special waste. So remember that biodegradable, you put that in the green trash can. The one that you can recycle, you can put that in the blue trash can. The residual waste, you should put that in the black trash can. And the hazardous waste, right? The thing that we got from the hospitals, should put that in our red trash can. So we must avoid littering, throwing, dumping, or waste in public places because what will happen, right? When it rains here in the Philippines, it can flood, right? Because the trays that we throw, it has an effect in our drainage system. We should reuse resources and reduce the volume of waste we produce because we must avoid it so that we help save our Mother Earth. So what about the barangay? What is the barangay's responsibility, right? So the barangay's responsibility is to collect biodegradable and recyclable waste and establish a materials recovery facility, what we call MRF, right? Just like what we have here in the picture, for composting, final sorting, and recycling. After the responsibility of the barangay, of course, the city government, the Quezon City government responsibility is to collect residual and special waste, right? Develop and implement waste diversion programs to minimize the amount of waste for disposal. So that is why we have this kind of lecture right now, dear students, right? So remember, all open and controlled dump site must be closed. It should be like in the landfill. So once again, dear students, let me just remind you that whether you are a new eco warrior of your community or a mindful buyer, right? So after you hear this lecture, whenever you go to the grocery, no act is too small to help save our planet. You know, think about the package before you buy a product and before you throw it, you think if you can still reduce, reuse, and recycle the product, right? So let us help save the world, dear students, right? Let us help save the world because we only have one Mother Earth. All right. So this is me, Teacher Annabelle, signing out. All right. Thank you so much for listening to our lesson for today. So I'll be back again to our next episode next time. All right. For now, goodbye. Thank you for listening.